Hi everybody! Today in this video I'm going to talk about how to write an effective compare and contrast paragraphs. First of all, what is a comparison paragraph? So, comparison paragraphs show us how people, places, things or ideas are similar. And on the other hand, what's a contrast paragraph? It shows us how people, places, things or ideas are different. So, despite these two common explanations, compare or comparison is used interchangeably with contrast. So, we can use compare for both of them, Why do we need comparison paragraphs in life? Remember last year, before you got into METU, you had to decide between Bilkent or METU maybe, or mechanical engineering or psychology departments. So you compared and contrasted two things, departments or universities. Then why do we need comparison paragraphs in our academic life? Next year, your instructors in your departments may want you to write an effective paragraph about the two methods used in mechanical engineering or two approaches in a psychology class. So we all need comparison paragraphs or comparison texts in our life for different purposes. So let's learn how to write an effective one.
In compare and contrast paragraphs, we usually organize the ideas in a point-by-point method. There is also a block method, but we'll focus more on point-by-point organization in this video. Here we go. In this organization, two things or ideas are compared on the basis of the first difference, and then you give an example of this difference. Next, you move on to the second difference, and then you explain or exemplify how these two things are different. Let's continue with some practice. So in our writing on page 1, we see an extract taken from a university leaflet for freshman students. Okay, take a look at the paragraph and think about this question. Does the text focus on similarities or differences between high schools and universities? How did you decide? Which words helped you to understand? Please underline. It's better to pause the video here to do the exercise. Let's go over the paragraph together. So we see differences between is different from, unlike, different. On the other hand, in contrast to, teachers at high school, in contrast to, and different from. Yes, we can understand that this paragraph is mainly focusing on the differences. Yes, let's move on to the other exercise. So read the sample paragraph again and study its organization and complete the table below, please. It's better to pause the video here. Let's analyze the paragraph together. So on the screen you see a very colorful page. On the left side you see the whole paragraph, and on the right side you see the ideas in color. So the same colors refer to the same ideas, just for your information. Let's start with the first sentence, the topic sentence. There are significant differences between high schools and universities in terms of responsibility and the sense of community. So, what's the topic in general? High schools and universities. Am I going to talk about their advantages? No. Am I going to talk about their similarities? No. I'm going to talk about the differences. So, this is my controlling idea and this is my topic. And in terms of responsibility and the sense of community. So I understand that this writer will talk about these bases of comparison, these major ideas in the following sentences. So this means it's an open topic sentence because it provides us with the major ideas at the very beginning. We are going to talk about this later in detail. So The red part is about the major supporting idea 1, the first major, let's say. So it's highlighted in red, as we see, and the sentences in red are the minor ideas about high school. And then it goes on with the responsibility issue at university. Here, please be careful about the parallelism between the order of the ideas. I mean, look at here. First, it gives us the high school and university. So be careful at high school and then the blue part, university. So high school, university, the order doesn't change. Okay. The responsibility issue or getting permission of the parents, again related to the responsibility issue, this is presented under the major idea. So minor ideas also support responsibility issue. Let's move on to the second major. The second major is about the sense of community, meaning that feeling that you belong to a group of people. So let's say it's sense of community. What's the case in high school? In high school, everybody knows one another, each other, and there is this sense of community. So these are the details and the explanation of this sense of community in these sentences. And in the green part, we see a comparison with the university case. So there is no sense of community. So students take the same courses, but they don't know their names. So all these parts are talking about the, let's say, lack of sense of community at the university level. Again, be careful. First, we talk about high school and then university, which is parallel with the topic sentence. Okay, we have the summary sentence at the end of our paragraph. To sum up, high schools and universities are different from each other in these two aspects. This sentence gives us an overview of the whole paragraph. It wraps up the paragraph and gives the summary. Okay, let's move on to the second practice, please. So, read the sample paragraph below and answer the question. Does the text focus on similarities or differences between humans and chimpanzees? Which words help you to decide? Please underline them. It's better to pause the video here and we'll come back. Okay, let's go over the paragraph together. We see these language structures like share, similar, both, similar in terms of like, similar to humans, similarity between humans and chimpanzees, both similarly. So as we see, it's more about the similarities between them. So we can say similarities here. Okay. Let's move on. Please look at the table here. Read the paragraph again and complete the table. It's again better to pause the video here and we'll come back. Okay, here we go. You see a very colorful screen in front of you, so let me explain. On the left side, you see the paragraph in color, highlighted and written in color, and on the right side, you see the organization of this paragraph. So, as you might guess, the same colors refer to the same ideas. So, let's look at it closely. The first sentence, humans and chimpanzees share a number of similar characteristics. Our topic sentence. So what's the topic? Humans and chimpanzees. What's the controlling idea? Like sharing. It's about similarities, as we said before. And what are the basis of comparison? Similar characteristics, but we can't see them in the very beginning. So it's a closed topic sentence. What's our first similarity or major support? One, their skeletons are the same. So in green, you see that it's talking about humans and chimpanzees similarity. So here and here, because they both have 5 fingers and they have a movable thumb, blah blah. And the second similarity is their offspring, as we see here, their babies, let's say. So, like humans, female chimpanzees have fewer young than other mammals, and it gives more explanation here in red. So, the ones highlighted in red or green are major ideas, and the written parts in different colors are mainly the minor supporting ideas, just for your information. And our third major supporting idea is more on the ability to communicate. So both species can communicate, let's say, by means of signs or using words, so they have the similar trait. To wrap up, we see 3 different similarities, and under them we see similar characteristics between human and chimpanzees, and we sum up the paragraph highlighted in pink, like, to sum up, humans and chimpanzees have similar traits in terms of their skeletons, offspring, and ability to communicate. As you see, it gives us the similarities between these two species in a clear way at the end.
Before we go into details about how to combine the compare and contrast paragraphs in a logical and an organized way, let's take a look at the language structures that we need. So, look at the board here. We have an example. Tennis is an individual sport. Similarly, fencing is an individual sport. So, we combine these two sentences with the help of this adverb. And please be careful about the structure after the adverb. We have a full sentence. And we can have this sentence in a more compact way. How? We can use similar to and like tennis. Fencing is an individual sport. So please pay attention to the form of the word. It's a noun, not a full sentence. So we can play with these language structures of compare contrast paragraphs with the help of a variety of language items. So please have a look at the PowerPoint slide to see more examples.
Let's start with the patterns to show similarities. So, we see an activity of playing tennis on one hand, and on the other hand we have jogging. So, playing tennis makes one feel relaxed. Similarly, jogging gives a person peace of mind. You see, feeling relaxed and giving a person peace of mind are two positive ideas, so they're on the same path, on the same way. So we need to put a pattern to connect these two parallel ideas, such as similarly, likewise, and in the same way. So please pay attention to the punctuation. You have a full stop after the first sentence, and you put a comma after these linkers, let's say. So, playing tennis makes one feel relaxed, semicolon, similarly, likewise, in the same way, comma, you have the full sentence again. Please pay attention to the structures after these patterns. You have a full sentence. Full sentence means you have a subject, jogging, and a verb after these. Subject and the verb. Let's move on to another word that gives us the similarity language. Like tennis, fencing is an individual sport. So be careful, please. After like, we have a noun and a comma. Or you can say similar to tennis, fencing is an individual sport. Okay, let's continue with the other structures or patterns. Here we go. Tennis and table tennis are similar or alike in terms of the number of players and the equipment. Or tennis and table tennis are similar or alike with respect to the number of players and the equipment. So be careful, we put a noun phrase after these, let's say, prepositions. So, tennis and table tennis are similar or alike. Again, you can say in that they both require two players and the racket and the ball. So we see the basis of comparison here, and we use the structure in terms of and in that or with respect to. We have noun phrases or nouns after these, and we have a full sentence after in that. Let's have a look at another example. Tennis is similar to table tennis in that they are both played with the racket and the ball. Again, we have a full sentence, meaning we have a subject and the. Okay, let's continue. So we see another example. Skydiving is a team sport and rafting is too. Please closely look at the comma here. Skydiving is a team sport and so is rafting. So both of them are team sports. Skydiving is not an individual sport and rafting isn't either. And neither is rafting. We see that skydiving is not an individual sport, rafting is not an individual sport as well. So trying to show these parallelism but in a negative way, we use neither or neither if you like. Okay, let's continue with the patterns to show similarities. Both skydiving and rafting require teamwork and cooperation. We can also say skydiving and rafting both require teamwork and cooperation. Please focus on the form of the main verb, require. It's in plural form. Not only skydiving, but also rafting requires teamwork and cooperation. Please be careful with the red parts because the word next to the verb determines the form of the verb. If this word is singular, then the verb form also needs to be singular. Neither swimming nor cycling burns many calories unless you do it at speed. Again, the word next to the verb determines whether the verb needs to be in singular or plural form. Neither my family nor my friends know about this problem. So you see the word next to the verb is plural, so the verb form is also plural.
Now please go to your handout page 5 and do practice 3.
Okay, this is the end of part 1 on compare contrast paragraphs. Please go on with the second video.